Yeah, so this defect, right? So this defect, it's not exactly a defect. So this you have to do based on the requirements. Okay. Because if the requirement shows a new pop-up window, then it will show up the new pop-up window. But here, in this case, it's opening a new email. Okay, so as per the business requirement, that defect, I mean, it may not be a defect, it may be a feature. Okay, so this is not something which you can open just like that. You need to check with your lead. Checking with your lead, then only you can open the defect. Okay, because here it's already there. They have written this, right? GMO-master at SEQUE.com. So they've already given you email ID, so you can send an email. So this may not be always a defect. This might be a feature. Okay. So we'll go to the next topic. So okay, I didn't create a. So I'll be giving you access to the SharePoint today. SharePoint as well as access to the Google Drive. So you'll have these documents to view those documents basically. So let's. So I'll open a new project, and so I'll not be explaining about this. So you need to figure it out. Okay. So you need to check by yourself and upload the documents. So I'll be giving you homework. You can just go to this file actions. When you open a project, okay, this is an admin level, so you cannot have this access like this. But if you are like individual level, then you just go to this files and you can upload this. Go to the upload and upload it. Okay, so this is for SharePoint. Okay, so you'll be sharing your documents. Okay. Okay. So let's go to the next topic. So we have this documents. So once you go to the project, okay, so once you go to the project, right, we'll be having various documents. So you need to refer so many documents. Okay, so not only this, in some cases you may not have documents, but you need to check with your developer or check with your lead or you can move that. But you will have documents, so you need to know this. Okay, so not always in agile, so they are trying to eliminate these documents. Okay, but not always it is possible. Okay, so these documents will be there. Okay, so let's go one by one. Okay, so BRD. So BRD is business requirement document. So business document contains information about this. Okay, so it contains information about it contains like 10 to 20% use cases and budget information. All the information it contains. So let's quickly check how does that looks like. Okay. So I'll be giving you access of Google Drive by today. Okay, business requirements. So let's quickly check this requirements. So this is how requirements. This is the business required document. Okay. So this contains information. It contains information about the project. Okay. So it has like project ID and all this information. So you need to go through all this. Okay. You need to go through all this, and not all the information you might understand at the first point. I mean, you don't have to, because these requirement documents are prepared for everyone, not just tester. So you may not understand everything. What you're trying to read here, it doesn't make sense for you. Some of them, because this requirement, right? It goes to the Scrum Master, it goes to the developer, it goes to the project manager, testers, everyone. So it goes to everyone. Okay. So in that case, you may not understand everything because it is prepared, as per the developer point of view, architect point of view. Okay. So you need to only understand what is specific related to your testing. Okay. What is related to your testing? Just like sometimes you underline this. There is something. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do. This is something which I need to test this. This is the requirement. Okay. So this is how you can view this document. So it is it's a big document, but you may not understand everything. Once you go to the project, you may not understand completely, and you may not So when you don't understand some part, right? You can check with your lead saying that, okay, so we know what kind of project, and okay, so this is an example for business requirement document. So that's called BRD. So what is a BRD? Business requirement document is a high-level document which contains information about the project. Okay, what information? Contains information about, like it contains like 10 to 20% of use cases. In budget information and all this information. Okay, and it also contains about the projects. Um, what project you're working on, and how it will be. Okay, let's move to the next one. Functional requirement document. Okay, in the functional requirement document is high level document which contains information about the functionality of an application. Okay, so normally it contains the functionality of an application. So this is something which you want to know. Okay, so BRD is little bit high level. Okay, it is more for a business users. Okay, business analyst and developer, architect people. Okay, normally test you may have that, but not much very useful. Okay, but functional requirement document is contains information about the functionality of an application. So let's quickly check here. Okay. Okay, so let's quickly check, and so it contains like information what is the requirement. Okay, so see these you have this functional requirement. So let's quickly compare with our application. Okay, this requirement for our application, but we can compare like these are the common. Let's say this is the requirement for this. Okay, it's not a requirement for this, but you need to, when you start testing, right, you need to know the information. So here you have like first name, okay, last name. So these are the field values. Okay, just similar to this. Okay, name, you have address, city. So these are the field values. They are represented in in this manner. So not always you may have this screenshot. They might just put it values. They just describe it in one line statement. They may not always have a screenshot. Screenshot is good because you will have more information saying that okay, which button belongs to which one. But here we don't have screenshot. We have this. You need to look this information here: first name, last name, address. So this is a requirement. You need to you can write test cases based on this. So you may not be always lucky to have that application ready. So we create test cases based on the application, but it's not necessary you will be having that application. You need to start writing your test cases based on the requirement. So this is the requirement, and you need to start writing test cases. You know this first name, last name, address, and these are the field values, and you need to start writing test cases for this. So this is functional required document. So this is pretty simple. Okay, so this is a simple requirement, but you may not always have the simple. Okay, it might go much more complex. Let's quickly check that. So it may contain like similar to business requirement, and they might have this all the information here. Okay, so based on this, you need to write the test cases. So that's functional requirement document. So what is functional required document? It is a high-level document which contains the functionality and features of an application. That's called FRD, functional required document. What is BRD? So business required document, and it contains information about the project. So like it's 10 to 20% of use cases, the budget information, and information about the project. So that is more related to ETL point of view. FRD is related to more front end point of view. Okay. Then you have this SRS, system requirement specification. So not always you have this access to this. Okay. So but you can just look this document. So it contains information about the system. Okay. So what are the hardwares? What are the softwares we are using? What are the hardwares? What are the server, like from which server, like how many applications we are using? So it contains all the information about the system. That's called system requirement specification. Okay. So this is an example for SRS, system requirement specification. Okay. Then next we have this PDM. PDM is physical data model. Okay, in physical data model, right? Let's quickly check. It contains the information about the physical data information, like what is the physical is tables. Tables are physical data model. So it contains information about the table. What are the it's like what is the natural key, where the how the data is flowing, from where the data is coming from, so this is more related to ETL point of view. Okay. So this is how it is. So it's not exactly entity relationship diagram. So that is completely different, but it contains information, information like this, which which column is going to which foreign table, which is which is the foreign key, which is the primary key, and all this information. But it contains information about physical data model. Okay, that is only tables. And then you have, so you also have like logical data model. Okay, so that contains information about the views. It's similar to physical data model, but it contains information about the views. Okay, so instead of tables, you'll be having information about the views. Okay, so that's medium. And you have like HLD. HLD is like high level design. So it contains, it contains information about the, it's design information. Like let's take an example. Okay, so let's take an example here. Let's say you're working in a project. In a project, you have there is a project idea. Okay, let's take an example idea. So IVR is interactive voice response. Okay. So when you are using, so you use your cell phone, right? You use your cell phone to interact with these. So let's say you want to make a payment, but you don't want to go to customer care, or you don't want to go online. You want to do the IVR. Okay. That's the automatic payment system. So what you do is like you go through the step-by-step process, like what's your username, what is your password, what is your PIN, all those information. Once you put all the information here, it goes to a particular level. Okay, so all this design, so that kind of design is actually done in high level design. So if you say yes, it has a different call flow. If you say no, that's a different call flow. If you want to talk to the customer service, so that's a different call flow. So these are like basically the call flows. Okay, so that is like high level design. So you want to have this information, like if you put some information, and what is the next step it goes to. Okay, so it's step by step process. So that's called high level design. Okay, so you have this TDD. TDD is technical design document. So this contains information about, okay, let's say job. You have this autosys. Okay, so let's say you're running these jobs, to put, to bring all the data from the dev environment to the test environment, and you're running some jobs, right? Your scripts, some Unix shell scripts. Once you run that, all the data which is there at a dev environment, or some particular place, it moves in the test environment. So you have these call flows. So which flows you need to run, which flows you need to, what are the dependency jobs, what are independent jobs, okay, and which should be triggered first, which should not be triggered. So all this information will be there in the TDD, technical design documents. So this contains, okay, so let's see if I have that. So this is a sample, but you may not have this. So all this starts with the index, right? So all this information, you'll be having this. Okay, so this is similar to this. Okay, so you can, take it this way. So I'm not getting a better diagram for this. Let's see. Okay, we can use this. Okay, so here you have this, let's say you're running some jobs, okay? So you're running some jobs. Once you run one job, you need to move to the other job. But here you might have dependency, okay? You cannot move to the other job unless you complete the dependent jobs on that, okay? So all this information will be stored in the TDD, technical design document, okay? So technical design document is a high level document which contains information about the, job scheduling tool. And you have this STM. STM is source to target mapping. So source to target mapping. So it's a mapping document which contains all the information about the source and um, source, staging, and target. So let's quickly check a better one. Okay. So this should be here. Okay, so let's take an example. Okay, so it contains all the information about the source as well as the target. Okay, even if you have staging, you also contain the staging. Okay, so it has it has to show all the information. So if you have this table, what is the column name? BDW. So BDW is Business Data Warehouse. Okay, so you also have EDW, Enterprise Data Warehouse. Okay, so normally no one provides us. So no one provides us this document. Okay, we need to download from SharePoint. So everything will be there in the SharePoint. Okay, but this document is edited by or created by, it can be dependent on the project. Business analyst, not all business analysts do. Okay, so developer or architect. So mostly architect people work on this because they know what's going on, which data to remove, which data not to remove, all those information. So developer don't have that kind of idea, what is data, what is it? They don't know. So this is the job of an architect normally, okay, but it is again based on company, based on the different company, okay, and no one has to provide this document, and it will be there in the SharePoint. You need to figure it out. You need to know the location where it exactly, so they will update it. So whoever the architect or business analyst, whoever is working on, they'll update the document. You need to download it. Okay, so you cannot keep on asking them. Okay, so that's not good. You need to check yourself from the SharePoint. Okay, so and let's say this target, this is a target. So target, it has contains a target column name. Okay, so these have so many columns. Okay, let's say you can have these 30 columns, and you have this target data type. For this column, what is the data type? Is it integer, var, date? Okay, and BDW target PK. BDW is again business data warehouse. Target PK is primary key. Okay, so this, you see this? This is pretty complicated. Primary key is just unique. Okay, unique and not. But here you have like 3 to 4. That means this is um, you have this composite primary key. Okay, there are also concept like composite primary key. That means you can have more than one column to put as a primary key. But I mean, this is not supposed to be so complex. But yeah, that projects can be so complex that you can put 24 columns for your primary key. Okay, so so you need to always, when you query that, you need to put that 24 columns every time. So let's not worry about that. then you have this reference table. Okay, so this is all information it contains. It contains of a primary key. If there is a natural key, they will put the natural key. If there is a candidate key, if they are working on that, they'll be putting this information. So next, you also have this information about the source, because you need to write SQL, right? When you're trying to write SQL, you need to have both the information. From source, you have the source field name. Okay, what is the source data type? So okay, and mapping rule. So normally you don't apply this transformation logic to the source. Transformation logic mostly applies to target. Okay, because no, you are actually trying to, because source queries will be simple. Source queries are simple. Something like select star from EFP, or like select star from primary key. But not target tables may not be simple, because here you are trying to put the conditions. Okay, transformation logic here. So you need to put this. But in this scenario, there is also concept where you can also put transformation logic to the source. Okay, so that case, not exactly source. It might go to the staging, because source may or may not have this production data. Sometimes you might be working on production data, so you don't want to touch that. So this will be applied to the staging area. So normally that's how it works. Okay, but again, based on the project, they are doing on the production, then it's a production. Otherwise, no. Okay. So this is about STM. So STM is source to target mapping document. Okay. So next we have test plan. Test plan is a high level document which is prepared by the QA lead. So we have this test plan here. Oops. So this is and what does it contains? It contains information about what you're trying to do. Like we have this. It contains test risk, like what are the items to be tested. So all this information, testing approach, test pass fail criteria, entry exit criteria, and so on. Okay, so this is the test plan. Okay, so this is an example of test plan. So you will have the information what to test and what are trying to do and test it and who is the responsible guy for that. So this is prepared by the lead, okay, QA lead or senior QA person, but not but you will not be sitting idle, right? When they are preparing, you need to give inputs like, okay, what more features should be added in this? What are the features not to be added? Okay, so all this information you need to give inputs. Okay, to the lead, so that if the lead thinks it's good, then they will be adding that information into this test plan. Okay, so you need to give inputs. So now once it gets approval, once it gets approved from the manager, okay, so you can use this test plan. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Test strategy document. So in the test strategy, so in some companies, test plan and test strategy documents are one. Okay, so they treat it as one, but technically it's not one, because the difference is this plan is something which you are trying to plan. Okay, once you're planning, how the process goes. Strategy is something which is how strategically you are actually pursuing the project. Okay, so whatever the information which contains in the test plan doesn't contain into this. Okay, because this contains information about more about the information, like risk and contingencies, resources, staffing and training, responsibility matrix. So all this information is contained in the test strategy. But in companies, some companies, they take it as one. So test plan, test strategy is one. That's fine. Okay, so you can go with the flow, but normally it's not one. Okay, these two things are different. Right. Basically you want to see, like, yeah, strategy is like, what, how do you want to proceed? Okay. So all this information it contains in this, and what are the risks, you know, um, you know, risk and contingencies, and how many people are required for this project. So all this information it contains in the strategy, but not in the test plan. Okay. And let's go to the next one, test cases. So test cases is, so we know test case, right? We have written test case. Let's be more detailed here. Test case contains, what does it contain? It contains, it's a high level document. Again, it's a high level document prepared by the QA analyst. So this is, which is prepared by the QA analyst. Okay, and it contains, and it contains like information about the, we know that expected result and actual result. Okay, and then the expected result, and actual result, and comments, pass or fail, all the information. So we actually, let me quickly show that. So we already written test case, right? Let's quickly check that. So here you see, it contains like test case ID, name, you want to put the work product, but it's fine, owner, and which project, and comments. If you also have these comments, that even it contains that information. Okay, so all this, but we actually only work on mostly two. What is the actual result? I'm sorry, what is the expected, and what is the actual result? This is what we mostly work. So that's test case. Then you have this migration document. So migration document. So why do you need this migration document? Migration document, let's say, you're working on an ETL project. Okay, you're working on an ETL project, and you want to migrate from, let's say, a different database. Let's say you're using Teradata database, and you want to migrate that to the Oracle database. Okay, so um, those two are different database. But let's say they hired someone new. Okay, they hired someone new, and um, and of course, everyone has experience. But thing is, it's completely different. The way the project goes, and if you don't have documents, because their data SQL is different, Oracle SQL is different. The way it is stored in the Teradata, the data type is completely different. The way it is stored in the Oracle database is completely different. So all this information about the migration, how do we want to migrate it, and what are the SQL to perform, and what not to perform, all this information should contain in the migration document. Okay, so that's why we need this migration document. We need this migration document to migrate from one project to the another. Let's say database. Let's say we are trying to migrate. Why do we want to migrate? Because some reason. Okay, so the company might be upgrading the database, so they don't want to use Teradata. They found Oracle useful, and they they want to move this to Oracle database. So they want to prepare this migration document. Okay, so that's why you need this migration. Any questions in these documents? So if you don't have any questions, so yes, test strategy is also done by the QLE. That's right. Test strategy and test plan document. Okay, so these days, I mean, most of them they are merging the test strategy to test plan, and they are calling same name. So the people are test strategy, test plan. Okay, so go with the flow. Don't just argue with them. Okay, saying that test plan is different, test strategy is different. They are using test strategy, use a test name the test strategy. If they are using test plan, use the test plan. Okay, sometimes they merge that. Okay, that all the information which is in test strategy document they merge into test plan. Okay, so you can go with the flow, but both are prepared by the lead QLE. Okay, okay, and let's close this. This. So let's put the next topic, SDLC. So SDLC is software development lifecycle. Okay, so it's a so this is how. So this is not something which is a tool, or this is not something which is a some software like just give me this, I'll practice at home. So this is not something that is can be given to you or something like this can be practiced. This is a process. Okay, this is a process. Process in sense the way how you need to work in the environment. So this is basically the environment. How do you need to work? Okay. So SDLC is a process. Okay, so let me give some definition for this. SDLC is software development lifecycle, and it's an iterative and incremental process. Okay, so and this is something which no developer tester don't decide this. This is decided by the management. Okay, from CTO or someone who guys thinks, okay, we want to move this agile, we want to move this waterfall, we want to move this to helical model, so on. Okay, so we are not going to do anything with this, but we need to know. Okay, we need to know information on this so that whatever the model they are using, we need to get used to this model. Okay, so what is SDLC? It describes the activities performed at each stage of software development. Okay, so this is the process, not something which is software or tool or something like that. It's a process where you will work on day-to-day basis. Okay, it's kind of environment. Okay, so how you want to make the environment, like first you need to do development, next you want to do testing, or you want to do both simultaneously and you want to go to production, so those kind of things, how you want to make it up. Okay, how you want to do things parallelly. Okay, so that all things are defined in SDLC model. Okay. Okay, so let's quickly go through this. So SDLC is is like waterfall model. Okay, waterfall model is derived from the SDLC. So it's all these phases are same. So what is a waterfall model? So it contains phases. Let's say here we have like 6 phases. Let's quickly check. So you might have 10 different phases. Okay, so you have these 10 different phases in SDLC. If you're good enough, you can can just put this, but I stick to only 6 phases here. Only 6 phases is important. But it's up to you. If you want to go ahead with the 10 phases, you can explain to them in detail. That's good. But here I'll stick to only 3, 6 phases here. Okay. First, requirements. Okay. In this phase, what happens is, business analyst or Scrum, product owner. Okay, let's talk about business analyst. Product owner is for agile. Okay, so we have waterfall model, so there is no product owner. So business analyst gathers all the information. Gathers all the information about the requirements. So what are the requirements that should be there? What is the functional requirement? What is the performance? All this information, and prepares the documents. And at that phase, they are going to be ready. So And then there is a design phase. In this design phase, architect people, get this information and, design like how the software should look like, what are the, it is a database or it is a QA, a lot of, how the structure should look like, how the framework should be there. All those things is decided in this design phase. And implementation. So this is, for the developer. Okay. So now all the information is, architect guy has done their job, and the implementation where you do the coding work. Okay. So all the coding, all the documentation you do in this implementation. Then you have this testing phase. Here where we actually what. So here we test the software and and we post any defects. And installation. So this is more for a middleware team or like some other team we're working on. If there is no team, then developers install that and move. So not always developer. Okay, so if you're working in big company, developers don't do this. Okay, so this is where the code moves into the production, from dev to test and from test to production. Okay, and this is the phase which happens in the installation. And then in the maintenance, so maintenance phase, which you need to maintain, right? You want to make sure there is no production issues. If there are production issues, then you need to some guy senior QA or like is normally involved in this maintenance. So you need to see that the production is good. There are no production issues and things software is running good. So this is the maintenance phase. Okay, so let me ask you a question. As a tester, as a QA analyst or QA, from where does our job start from? As a QA, in SDLC or in waterfall methodology, where does our job start from? Can anyone answer?
Is it from requirements itself?
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, requirements. So why requirements? How did you come up with saying requirements?
Because we need to understand the FRD, BRD documents.
Exactly. So, our job as a tester starts right from the requirements. Okay. Because, you don't want to, let's say if you want to start, so someone is like, if your job starts from testing, you don't be idle in the whole 3 phases, right? They don't pay you to be idle. So your job starts right from the requirement phase. When you have this in the business analyst, creating documents or gathering all this information, then you'll be having meetings with them. Okay. So what kind of requirements we are having? Okay. What is the issues going to face when we have this, when you go to the QA? So all this, you will be having meeting with them. So, so that is. Okay, so yeah, agile is a little bit different. So I'll be taking the whole class of agile. So let's not worry about that. Okay. But yeah, as a tester, our job starts right from requirements. Okay, we have this meeting. You go to the meeting, understand the requirements. What are the requirements? How are you going to proceed this? We have you want to discuss a lot of brainstorming there. You want to say no. We have these three QA environments. All the three are blocked. We cannot proceed with this. You're coming with this requirement, but how are you going to proceed? We don't have this QA. Everything has to go to production by next week. We don't have any specs here. How are you going to move this? All those brainstorming are to be discussed in the requirement phase, because they come up with requirement saying that, hey, this is how the requirement is, but we also need to have that space, right? We need to talk about that, okay? Because if we don't have, if something is already there and we are already testing it, we can move that something into, this environment. So, into time, okay, how are we going? So, can we, create one more environment, QA4? Are you okay with that? What are the complications? What are the more features we need to require for that? So, all this brainstorming should be done in the requirement phase, because as QA, okay, you will be also a lead meetings, might be more into these meetings, not as a QA, to start with. But yeah, senior QA, lead, all will be starts right from the corner. Once the brainstorming is done, you go to the next design stage. In the design stage, you know, what you'll be doing as a QA, you'll be preparing documents. There's a lot of documents to prepare. Test plan document, test strategy document, okay? And you do all those workings, design phase, okay? And implementation. What you do in the implementation phase? Let's say, we have completed the test plan and test strategy. We remain with the test case. You complete the documentation work in the test case. You complete your test cases. Next, test phase. Here, what we'll be doing is execution of the test cases. Okay, we normally don't execute right after writing the test case. We write the test case in the implementation phase, and we need to execute the test, execute your test case in the testing phase. Okay, so that is testing. Installation phase, you want to coordinate, a lot of coordination with the middleware team or the developers, a lot of things, in installation, because you're moving that code into production. Okay, once you're moving that code into production, so everyone eyes will be there on that. Okay, so what's happening? There's no issues. Okay, because the code is not broken. So all those things. Okay, so that's a coordination work, part of coordination, and the maintenance. So maintenance, okay, not more for it to start up QA, but your lead will also be working on QA lead or senior QA. Will also be in the maintenance. In that, okay, so we need to check this code. This code is the production issue. Let's say there's a production issue. How can we solve this? Okay, how is there any fix? Is there any hard fix? Okay, can we fix it right away and put it to production immediately, because this is in the production. We don't want to test in production. So all this information. Okay, so this is done in the maintenance phase. Okay, so this is about waterfall methodology. So this is only one way. Why this is waterfall? Because it's like waterfall, right? You cannot go up only just one way. If you found any issues, then you have to start from scratch requirements. Okay. So any questions in this? So this has strength and weakness. Waterfall methodology has strength. So the most important advantage for this is when you want to, see that quality is more important than cost. If you want to think that quality is more important than cost, then you go to the waterfall. Agile is completely other way. Agile is when you want to think cost is more important than quality, then you go to the agile. You are really serious and worry about project, and you don't want to spend more money. 6-month project, get it 1 month, that's it, done. Nobody cares how many defects, it's gone. Okay, so that's agile. Okay, so this has some disadvantages, and also um, all the requirements should be upfront. No, you cannot add a requirement in between. So again, if they add some requirement in between, you have to go again the whole process again. So it's not so good, if you want to add some requirements. Okay, so there is one more model like V-shaped SDLC. Okay, so this is also derived from SDLC. Okay, so all this waterfall methodology, all methodologies except agile, okay, are derived from the SDLC. Okay, so here what we are trying to do is we are trying to do the both things in parallel. Okay, so project requirement planning, production, all this you are trying to do in parallel, and is coming the shape of V. So that's called V-shaped SDLC model. Okay, you are doing detailed design, unit testing, your architect level design, integration testing. Okay, so all this you're trying to do, parallelly. So that's called V-shaped model. Okay, so it has also own advantages and disadvantages. Let's move to the next one. So incremental SDLC model. Okay, so incremental SDLC is SDLC, but it's here you will be trying to do is like verification and validation. Okay, the same thing, same 6 phases. Okay, but here you are trying to do the approach to do that 6 phase is different. Okay, here you are trying to do is incremental process where you want to do verification and validation. Okay, so that's incremental SDLC model. Okay, let's quickly move to the next one. Even that has an advantages and disadvantages. And there's one more like spiral SDLC model. Okay, spiral SDLC. Why you call it spiral? Because it contains 4 quadrants. Okay, 4 quadrants like what are the objectives and how do you resolve these issues, develop, and plan. And again, you move this into the spirally. Again, you concept, and again go to prototype, requirements. Again, you go to the prototype, design. Again, you go to the prototype. Again, implement. Okay, so this is called spiral because you move, into the spiral. Okay, and, you may not have this in the projects. These are like mostly not used, but again, it's like you may get some project which they will be using it. So let's go quickly to the next. So agile, I'll be taking the complete full one class for that. So we'll be explaining about the agile. You also have this adaptive SDLC. Okay, if you want, you can view this slide. Okay, so I'll be putting in the Google Drive, so it will be there in Google Drive. I'll be giving you access to this Google Drive by today. So you'll be having this slide into directory number 26. Okay, you'll be having this slide in SDLC PPT. Okay, so you can view this slide. Okay, so let's to the next one, SDLC. So SDLC was more for a development point of view, but we also supposed to know that because we are working in the same environment, right? We are working with the developers, we are working with the, other people. We need to know that. Okay, so that's the reason we need to know this. But there is also called STLC, the testing lifecycle. So developer don't know about this. Okay, because this is only known by our hierarchy, testing hierarchy. Okay, so QA analyst, QA lead, QA manager, QA director, only that flow, that hierarchy only we will be working on. So this is like testing life cycle. So what basically what the tester do. Okay, so this is also, I mean, it's not exactly the methodology, but this is also the process where you want to follow this. Okay, so we have done all this. Okay, test plan preparation. Okay, first what you do is prepare the test plan, then you do the test case design, execute and test log preparation, then you put the defect tracking, test report preparation. So we have done all this. Okay. So if you want, quickly I can show you once. So test plan. So lead will be preparing test plan. Once it's done, and once the test plan is done, you move to the next, the test case design. So we have designed the test case. This is the test case. Okay, so we prepare this test case, and once it's done, you execute the test case. Okay, so execution is what I told you, right? Execution is test case. So you are getting this result, so you are executing it. Okay, so that is execution of test case, and then you have and test log preparation. Test log preparation is like what you want to. So normally when you prepare this, the test log is automatically created. Okay, we don't have to do anything manually then. Okay, and defect tracking. Let's say you have open defects. So we have open defect, right? We have open defects, and you want to track this, which defect number, defect 302, 304, and so on. Okay, you want to track that. So that's called defect tracking. And test report preparation. So test report preparation, go to the reports, and you can generate your whatever reports you want it to be, and this is the report preparation. Okay, so we have done this STLC. If you want, you can you can go through this slide. Any questions in test STLC? So we also talking about the defect life cycle. So we have worked on this, right? We know what is defect priority, defect severity. If it is a low, that is the defect is pretty much like cosmetic or something. And if it is a moderate, that means the defect is something which we have opened. If it is a high, that means it is something which is production issue or debt loss or crash, something which you are not able to proceed with your test case. So that's how the defects is classified. Okay. And then we have this severity. Okay, so let's move to the next topic, bug life cycle. Okay, so again we have done this. I just explained this. Yeah, so once when you find a defect, yeah, it's good to talk to them. Yeah, it's a good question. Okay, so when you find a defect, okay, you need to you need to, okay, first once you do know developers, okay, that's fine. You can if you do them directly, that's good. But if you start with, you may not know the developers. Okay, so you want to check with your lead and get to know the developers. Or if you introduced the first day, that's good. But yeah, that's a good. We need to have a casual talk. Okay, you need to have a casual talk, and we need to fix that. So that is more best. That's a better way to do the work. Okay, you cannot just okay, it's good. You have to document it. You open this, and you let them know that you're opening it. It's good to have a casual talk. You always need to know. If you do that, that's pretty good. That helps you to maintain the relationship between developers, testers, or whoever. It's good. Always have a casual talk. hey man, how is going? Yeah, and you can start with, saying some, whether it's so cold today. Yeah. Yeah, just to check with this, this recently opened some defect. Did you get a chance to fix it? So always, that's good. Always need to start, talking than just opening defects and, just, telling them it may not be always good. Okay. Okay. So let's quickly finish this. This is the defect life cycle. So once you open a defect, it's in the new status. Okay, as I told you, always you need to change the status, open status. Once it's open and you assign it, you want to assign to the developer. Once you assign it to the developer fixes that issue and and put it into start testing. So once you test that, once it's fixed, developer changes to fix. Once you test that, it's good, and you verified it and you can close it, so that's good. But you want to see this, okay, this is not fixed, it's not working. Then you want to go as a reopen and again assign to some other developer. Let's say developer says it's not my job, this is not something, nothing to do with me. It's a database issue, or it's an architect issue, or it's a middleware issue, or it's a different thing. It's all together. Then you figure it out, some person, the right guy, to fix that issue, and you assign it again. Okay, so this is how you can do. And let's say your defect, once you assign it, it might get rejected too, saying that okay, this is not a defect. This is you're working in the wrong project. This is the old project. We are done with this. We are no more working on it, or you can get rejected. Deferred is something which is goes to the next release. Says developer says, let's say, I don't have time to do this. We are busy with so many projects. We cannot work on this, so they defer it. So that means it goes to the next release. Okay, so that's about the defect life cycle. Okay, a bug life cycle. So let me quickly show that. So what we are talking all this time was about the status of the defect. Okay, let's quickly see that. So we were talking about the status. Once it's open, submit it. Submit it. You open, and then you fix it, and then you can close it. Okay. I mean, that's a very good question actually. Now, bug and a defect is the same thing. Technically, no, but you can use the terminology. Okay, so bug or defect, they say, but bug and defect is not actually the same. I read it like long back, it's almost 7 years about that. So let's quickly check that. So, okay, so bug is more like, it's kind of errors, okay, and defect is something which is, which is something which is not functioning and which is away from the requirement. Okay, so that's the defect. Technically, it's not safe, but you can take it as when you work. Okay, it might be. You can use the same term for it. Better use defect. Okay, that should be good because always we use the defect, right? Not bug. So okay. Any more questions? So from Monday, right? From Monday I'll take Agile. Okay, we'll complete Agile. 2 days I'll give you one more test management tool, that is HPLM. So why I'm giving too many test management tools, because you need to get used to that user interface. Okay, so here I'm showing you Rally and HPLM, but at the client it might be different. You might get HPLM, you're lucky. You might get Rally, you're lucky, but not everyone are lucky, right? They might get something else. They might get TFS, Team Foundation Server. So why I'm trying to concentrate more on test management tool is because you need to get used. That's the only tool you will be using more often. Okay, as a QA. Okay, but as a ETL, of course, you'll be having a lot more to do. But as a QA, you'll be using that one, right? More manual work. Okay, so you need to get used to that, user interface. So okay, so if no one has any questions, can we close this class for today? Yeah, sure. I mean, um, sure. You can send me an email. Okay, I can call you, or you can call me. Just give me some time. Like I'll not be there in my desk like for 1 hour. Okay. So just send me an email. So once if you're ready, I can call you back. Okay. 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 Thank you, guys.